All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, the results of the IFBB Europa Pro that happened today, and a new qualifier for the Olympia, or a new qualified competitor, I should say. The winner was Theo. I do think this was a deserved victory. It looked like at prejudging he was one of the top two for sure, based on the fact they were kind of moving guys around him. So Theo's name will be added to that Olympia lineup. In second place, you had Kokeni Bella, who was able to defeat Alfred Shiriak, who originally, Alfred Shiriak was, it looked like they had him in second at the beginning of prejudging. They moved him to the outside and moved Kokeni next to Theo. So I guess that was good enough for them to make the decision that he was going to be second. So congratulations to Theo for winning, and let me know your guys' predictions in the comment section below on how he's going to do in the Olympia lineup. And I believe he's extremely young, like 23 or 24. He's in his early 20s, so he has a lot of time, a lot of potential, and I think this is a pretty big win for him at that age. And also, there was another open bodybuilding show today. So this competition was the professional version of the show that we saw Good Vito compete in, the Fit Pira show. So Good Vito did the amateur section, which was not a pro qualifier, but there was also an IFBB professional version of this Brazilian show, the Fit Pira Pro. And the winner of that show was a guy by the name of Leandro Perez, who apparently had just turned pro. And this was his pro debut, so this was a massive win for him, and his name will be added to that Olympia lineup. And in this show, he beat some pretty big names. He beat Stanimal here. He beat Kevin Jordan. And Stanimal wound up in second here, which I think was really big for him as well. So congratulations to Leandro Perez. Two names added to the Olympia lineup this weekend, and I believe next weekend will be the final opportunity to qualify for this year's Olympia, and that will be at the Romania Muscle Fest Pro. As far as Men's Open's concerned, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is the last Men's Open show qualifier for the Olympia. So we will have one more name, and I'm going to guess it's going to be Brett Wilkin, and that's going to be my next story here. So Brett Wilkin right now is 1 week out from that Romania Muscle Fest Pro. I'm assuming we're going to get a list of competitors here soon. I would actually expect that probably some of the guys that we just saw compete in this Europa show would probably go over and compete at Romania as well. So at 1 week out, we got two updates from Brett. We got kind of an abs and thighs there, a side variation. Then we got kind of a twisting quarter turn shot where you can kind of see his back more so than the side profile. You can see that he's got striated glutes. You can see that in his abs, he's got the intercostals are very shredded. He's got the serratus. That abdominal wall just looks really conditioned. And Brett is a guy that I think a lot of people have been looking forward to seeing back on stage ever since the Arnold Classic, where there were a lot of people predicting he would win that show. He fell a little bit short there, and I think the main reasons were conditioning and losing control of his midsection, so that's what we're going to be looking for him to fix here, especially in between those poses. And as the comparison rounds go on, not losing control of his midsection and breathing heavy and things like that, kind of like what we saw with Michael Krizo. And I would imagine those are things that he's probably worked on since then. And he will be looking to add his name to the Olympia lineup. Now, next up in the news, William Bonac. This is a guy that I think could do a lot of damage at the Olympia, and he's done a lot of damage at the Olympia in the past. He's been as high as second back in 2019. He's also an Arnold Classic winner, and he was also the runner-up at this year's Arnold Classic, this past Arnold Classic, to Brandon Curry. Now, at last year's Olympia, he was sixth, but he had a leg injury. He was certainly off at that Olympia, and he's had this gyno problem at the last few shows that he's done. But despite that, he says he's fixed the injury, he's fixed the gyno, and we saw that he's fixed the conditioning already. At the Arnold Classic and at the Boston Pro this year, we saw the William Bonac that we're used to seeing. We saw the Conqueror. His conditioning was on point. He was full, he was round, he was hard, crazy well-muscled for the frame that he has. And now after that, he's saying he fixed those other issues, so I think he could be very dangerous here. And we've seen a lot of updates from him lately, including this guest posing that he did this weekend, which is 6 weeks out. And I think that Bonac looks phenomenal for 6 weeks out. And I think being one of the top guys, it's always impressive to see some of the first call-out top guys doing guest posings this close to the Olympia. A lot of guys just want to hide their physiques and not show it and kind of have it be a surprise on stage. So to step on stage on a guest posing stage this close to the Olympia, especially when you're one of the top guys, I really think deserves a little bit of commendation, because I think it's cool, and I think it's just something that, especially back in the day, guys just didn't do. You probably couldn't bank on seeing Phil Heath or Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman do a guest posing this close to any of the Olympias they were competing in, because it just wasn't their style. But I've been thinking a lot about my Olympia prediction video that I'm going to be making here in the next couple of weeks. And William Bonac, I think, is the guy for me that is the true wild card. He has beaten Ramy before, and Ramy is the current Olympia champ. So what reason do we really have that if he's fixed all his issues and he comes in 100%, what reason do we have to believe that he can't do that again? Why can't he beat Rami again? Because he didn't just beat Rami once. He's beaten him multiple times at multiple shows, including the 2020 Arnold Classic that Bonac won and Rami was third. So he's beaten him at the Arnold, he's beaten him at the Olympia, and I think a lot of people count him out because of that 6th place placing last year. They thought he was done, and just because he competed so much earlier in the season, his name isn't getting out there as being talked about as a favorite right now, as much as some of these newer guys, these rising stars. But man, I would not be shocked if we saw William Bonac in the top 3 this year. He is a true wild card. He could be, for all we know, he could be 6th or worse like he was last year because we got so many new guys coming in. But he could be 3rd or better because he has been in the past. He's been an Olympia runner-up. He's been a guy that's beaten Rami all over. And we're not talking about the distant past. We're only talking about a couple of years. And even though Rami is looking incredible, arguably better than ever right now, I'm not going to be the guy that says William Bonac can't do it because I think he could. He has. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think William Bonac has a shot at top 6, top 3, or even potentially a shot at winning this thing? Or am I totally crazy for even suggesting it? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, another guest posing that we got at 6 weeks out was from Blessing Awodibu. Blessing just won this year's New York Pro. He won the Indy Pro. Winning 2 shows to go into the Olympia is a lot of momentum. It's a lot of steam for Blessing. Even if they weren't the strongest lineups earlier in the season, those are big wins, and Blessing did a guest posing at 6 weeks out this weekend as well. And I do think he looks better here than some of the other physique updates that we've seen at recent points in his prep. But it's a hard act to follow to see a guest posing from Blessing after seeing this guest posing from Bonac. And granted, I do think that Bonac's guest posing video was much higher quality and much clearer, so that could have led to him looking more conditioned. But I do think following Bonac's guest posing is a little bit tough for Blessing in comparison, especially when you compare the lower bodies. The way that Blessing's lower body looked compared to Bonac, I think Bonac was way ahead in his video. Not to say that Blessing and Bonac are going to be close at the Olympia anyway, because I really don't think they will. I think Blessing has a shot at the top 10. I think he's a really good bodybuilder. I really like his structure. I really like his physique. I like how small his waist is. I like his posing. His conditioning at Indy and New York was really good. But I still think in this Olympia lineup, it's going to be tough for him to crack the top 10. And when we're talking about 2 guest posings, Blessing and Bonac, I don't think he's going to be close to Bonac at the Olympia. But let me know what you guys think about both these guest posings in the comment section down below. Now, another physique update that we got at 6 weeks out from the Olympia, Samson Dauda, and this is a guy that a lot of people are also talking about being a wild card in this lineup. He competed in the Arnold Classic. He did good, but he didn't do great. He looks a lot better, admittedly, in these updates than he looked at the Arnold Classic. He looks a lot bigger to me than he looked at the Arnold Classic, and he was the second biggest bodybuilder in terms of weight in the offseason of 2022, being in excess of 330 pounds, at least according to him. Smaller than only Big Rami, again, in terms of weight. And for a guy that's that big and carries that much size, he's always impressed me with how he's kept his midsection in check. I've never seen this guy with a distended midsection. For a guy that's 330 pounds, 300 plus pounds in the offseason, you just don't see this every day. And I think the question with him is probably going to be conditioning, because I think he's got a beautiful structure, a beautiful physique. He's certainly got the size, 300 plus pounds. Who knows what he's going to weigh on stage? Probably maybe 280s, 290s. But I think it's probably going to come down to a question of conditioning for him, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where he lands, because I think Bonac is a more solid wild card because Bonac has such just an impressive resume, and he's got a track record that suggests he can do these wild things because he's already done them. And Samson is a wild card because he looks phenomenal, but he hasn't quite yet done these wild things. In fact, I think that's something I want to hear from you guys. On this topic of wild cards, who would you guys designate? Let me know in the comments below. Who would you designate as your biggest wild card? Who's the biggest disruptor that you see that could potentially be the biggest threat that maybe not a lot of people are talking about at this year's Olympia? Who is the biggest wild card? Who are people sleeping on? Who are people not talking about? Who would people not expect to win or be top 3? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who are we dropping the ball on? Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, a female bodybuilding story. The largest female bodybuilding show in the world, the Rising Phoenix, also took place this weekend. And Andrea Shaw was the winner of that competition, winning $50,000 cash, which is like the biggest prize purse in any of the female divisions, I believe, outside of the Olympia, and also winning some kind of truck. So I wanted to cover this because it was the biggest female bodybuilding competition in the world, but I'm also interested because I get this feedback a lot of people sometimes asking me, why don't you cover the women's divisions? And I say, A, because I'm not really that much interested in them. B, I don't know much about them. I probably couldn't name 5 competitors off the top of my head in any of the divisions. And C, I don't think my following is interested in it. Every time I post any video that was, or posted any video that was exclusively about a women's result, a women's competition, or a women's division, it got way lower views than any other video. Nobody in the comments was talking about the women's part of the video. No one ever seems interested in it. And another thing, too, that I found interesting is that whenever I put one of the women's competitors in a thumbnail, a lot of times that video ends up getting demonetized for the thumbnail. Maybe because the algorithm is detecting that they're in like a bikini, or I don't know what it is. But the question that I have for you guys, I'm covering this women's result right now. Are you interested in hearing about women's bodybuilding competitions or any of the women's results on this channel? I want to know in the comment section below your honest feedback. Or is it just men's bodybuilding, classic physique exclusively, 212 sometimes? What are the things you're most interested in hearing about? And do you care if I never talk about another women's competition again? I'm genuinely curious. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I really appreciate your guys' your time here. This was a longer video. Click that like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. Click that bell notification icon. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.